Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, make sure to smash the like button. Smash the like button on this video. Make sure to smash that like button. Pound that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the video. And obviously, keep watching me. Keep supporting me. Guys, as we know, we've got a huge fight on Saturday with Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson. It's a massive, massive fight. And it's obviously got a bit more spice to it because Oscar Valdez trains alongside the best fighter in the sport, the biggest name in the sport, in Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I saw an interview from Saul Canelo Alvarez saying that Oscar Valdez needs to be smart in this fight. He needs to be very tactical. He needs to ignore pleasing the fans, because he goes, Oscar likes to please the fans. He gives the fans a tough, always a good fight. You know, he's had his jaw broken, and he can't do that in this fight. He has to be smart. I actually disagree. Look, Canelo and Eddie Reynoso know. I hope they obviously know boxing. They know a lot about boxing, but I actually disagree with what Canelo had to say. Now, some of you do say that, you know, Canelo's obviously English is still improving, so sometimes, it comes across not what he's trying to say, which may be the case here. But I actually think the opposite to Canelo. I think Valdez needs to make this a fight. I think he needs to make it a rough, brawl, horrible, dirty fight in order for him to win, because I don't think he can box with Shakur. I don't think he can box on the outside and box with Stevenson, because Stevenson will pick him apart and batter him. There's no way Valdez can win this fight on, boxing. He's got to be brave. He's got to go in there, what Canelo also said is, don't take a shot to give a shot, kind of thing. But that's what I think he needs to do. I don't think he can win. He can't box with this guy. This guy's an Olympian. He's the more athletically gifted. He's a bigger guy. He's got faster feet, faster hands. So unless they've got some kind of master strategy, I honestly think if Valdez tries to box, he gets battered. You know, we already saw it against a much inferior boxer in Robson Conceição. You know, a lot of people thought Robson Conceição won the fight, and they thought Valdez should have lost. And that was a much inferior boxer to Shakur Stevenson. You know, so I actually think the opposite. I think Valdez needs to go out there and look to wipe him out. He needs to go in there and just look to clean out Shakur Stevenson. Otherwise, I don't think he can really win this fight, to be brutally honest with you. I think it might be a step too far for Shakur, for Valdez. So yeah, I actually think the opposite. Let's see what Valdez has to say. Valdez says, working alongside Canelo is amazing. Even when he's training for his own fight, he'll stop sparring and teach us certain things. You know, he has more experience than the rest of us. So it only makes me better. He fought the best in his prime. There's a lot that he knows that can definitely benefit me in this fight. It definitely helps training alongside one another, as well as training with Eddie Reynoso. We all just feed off each other. And he goes, I want to accomplish everything that Alvarez has, says Valdez. I want to one day be unified, the undisputed champion, and then go up in more divisions. That's something that I've always dreamed of since I was a little kid. I have the fighter in front of me like Canelo Alvarez, who has accomplished this. Obviously, he knows his path. He has way more experience than all of us. There's a thing or two that we don't know that we can use in a fight. So yeah, there you go. He gives his thoughts about training with Canelo Alvarez. Look, this is sometimes we underestimate how work for a fighter like Valdez, who is, I believe he's a good fighter, but I think he's limited. I don't think he's the best boxer in the world. And when you're coming up against a guy like Shakur Stevenson, I think it's very difficult, because we know that Valdez can be outboxed, and he's looking for a haymaker. He's looking to land something to really change the course of the fight, because the way I see this fight going, I see the Shakur Stevenson picking him apart. I do. I see, unless Valdez can land something significant to hurt Stevenson, which, you know, he may be able to do, because Valdez has got power. So that's what they need to work towards. They need to work to get a game plan to kind of either hurt him or be able to break him down, where they can, you know, then stop him. Because there's no way for me I can see Valdez winning this fight on points. Also, Shakur is being built into a golden boy. I think they're both with Arum. So Valdez is going to have to win this fight well. And I just don't see how he outboxes Shakur. Shakur's too good from the outside. He's too fast. And he has very good boxing IQ. And generally, these type of guys are very good at winning rounds. It's very difficult to beat these type of guys. You know, Shakur looks flawless in his performances. You know, Jamel Herring, who's a guy that I believe is a good boxer, that actually could probably give Valdez a good fight. And he made light work of Jamel Herring, you know, very light work of him. And he made it look easy, really. So, yeah, I think Valdez is going to have his work cut out here. I do. I think this is going to be a very, very tough test for him. Very, very tough test. If he was to win, it'd be a shocking. It would be nothing shocking in boxing, but it would be an upset, and it'd be an incredible win. An incredible win. Look, Valdez is undefeated. He's never lost. Even though some people thought he did lose his last fight. Look, this is going to be tough for him. I think he's a big underdog going into this fight. I know a lot of you are supporting him, but I think that's because you guys want him to win rather than what's going to happen. Like, as you guys know, I'm neutral. I think Shakur will beat him, and I won't be surprised if Shakur stops him. It's different levels. There's levels in this boxing game, you know, and Valdez ain't at the level of Shakur, unfortunately. He hasn't got the skill. He hasn't got the ability. He's got the punch power, where if he lands that, he might be able to, you know, who knows. But I just don't think he's got the boxing ability, unfortunately, to compete with this guy and beat him. I think he's going to have to make it a rough and tough and ugly fight in order for him to win. But it's going to be tough because, you know, Shakur really has got the bit between his teeth, and in his last couple of fights has looked sensational. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very, very difficult without writing off Valdez for him to get the W in this fight. But if he does, I think he's going to have to make it very uncomfortable for Shakur. You know, when you've got a guy that's that gifted, that special in front of you, you've just got to make it very uncomfortable for him. You've got to make it a very rough and tough and ugly fight, and then hope, you know, one of your haymakers lands on his chin, that makes him, you know, knocks him out, basically, which, you know, is possible in boxing. Anything's possible, you know, when you got a guy like Valdez, who's a top fighter, landing those haymakers, anything's possible. But, you know, without writing off Oscar Valdez, it's a tough ask. It's a tough ask. And I think any of you, without being biased, will accept that this is a very, very tough ask. And it's going to be difficult because Valdez ain't no Canelo. You know, he talks about being Canelo, but, you know, even though Canelo can give him tips, Canelo can't go in the ring and fight. And to be honest, that's the type of fighter you'd probably have to be, someone like Canelo, to beat Stevenson. Stevenson's very, very good. He's very fluid in his movements, very fast. He's got all the attributes that I think would cause someone like Valdez huge trouble. Like, for me, he's all wrong for Valdez. For me, that style is all wrong for Valdez. So Valdez it's not just the fact that, you know, Valdez isn't, I think his style is all wrong. I think his style is all wrong, and I think we probably will see that. But, again, Valdez, credit to him, he was an underdog against Miguel Berchelt, and he managed to come through that and win that. Berchelt, after that, hasn't looked the same. You know, after that KO, that was a brutal knockout. So if that type of left hook lands on Stevenson's chin, who knows? The only thing is with Stevenson, I don't know whether he's going to be there to be hit like that. And that's the issue. Because Stevenson's, he's a type of fighter that can make the fight very negative and make the fight quite boring because he's so gifted and so got so much ability. He can make the fight very boring. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. See, there's certain fighters that are gifted, but they're no good for their own good, you know. They get involved in tear-ups. They get chinned. They get put down. Where Stevenson, for me, is very economical. He gets the job done. Hence why I think it's going to be very tough. Very, very tough for him to beat Stevenson, because I think Stevenson's very economical. He's not somebody that's going to get involved when he doesn't need to get involved. He's just there to get the W. You know, Timothy Bradley said that he put me to sleep. But he's that type of fighter. He's not the most exciting, but he gets the job done. And that's the type of fighter he is. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. But who knows? It's boxing. Anything can happen. One punch, left hook lands. We may see an upset, you know. So we just have to wait and see. Guys, there's also, like I said, there's another... I don't know if I did a breakdown on this, but there's also another big fight, Katie Taylor v Amanda Serrano. That's obviously a big fight, you know. Big fight, which is rivaling this fight. I don't know if they're going to go at the same time. Hopefully not. I want to watch both. But that's a fascinating fight as well. You know, you've got two great fighters. Serrano, she's like, both of these girls are legends of the female boxing. Serrano, what is she, 7-8 division world champions. Katie Taylor, you know, undisputed champion. It's a really good fight, and it's kind of like a pick'em kind of fight. You know, it's one that could possibly go either way. For me, I think this has come at the right time for Serrano. I think Katie Taylor's on the slide. I don't think she's looked impressive. I think her fights with Jonas was pretty close. Pursoon, I didn't think she won those fights, you know. And even the last fight, like, she's looking like she's just about getting through now. Like, it's a tight squeeze for her. And Serrano, for me, looks like she's in an absolute prime. She's looking fantastic. A lot of people say, well, Katie Taylor's the bigger girl out of the two. But I don't really see a lot of size difference there. I don't really see a lot of, you know, Serrano's actually taller. I know taller don't mean you're bigger, but there doesn't seem to be that much of a differentiation in weight there either. I think Serrano looked really good. She looked really good in her last fight. She looked impressive, actually. She looks fresh. I just think she's going to have Katie Taylor's number. I think a lot of people are edging towards Serrano as well. I think it's because Katie Taylor looks a bit jaded. She looks a bit tired. She looks a bit like she's at the end of the road now. She's at the end of her career. So Serrano might be getting this fight at the right time. So I'm going for a Serrano points victory. I don't think she's going to stop Taylor. I think Taylor's very tough. She's proven that. You know, I've seen Taylor hurt and she's gets through it. She bites down on her gum. She would have come through. I also think Taylor's a bit... She's a good fighter. I think she's quite repetitive in her movements. She lets her hands go and gets in and out. But I feel like if you can close the distance on her and you can kind of, like Pursoon did, she doesn't really have much of an answer, to be honest. I think, like, if you can cut the ring off her and get her to make it a messy, like, don't fight her on the outside because she'll just beat you. She's got fast hands. She's in and out. You don't want to fight her on the outside, but if you get it up close to her, make it rough and tough, I think you can beat her. Serrano is a good boxer. Serrano can make it rough and tough. So I think Serrano, for me, I think will edge it out. I also think that Serrano's probably got more miles on the clock as well. So obviously that might, if it's close, who knows, they may give it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's in America as well. Serrano's the American fighter, so we'll have to wait and see. Look, I won't be surprised if Taylor wins. I thought Pursoon beat Taylor in America, and Taylor got the decision, which I thought was disgraceful, and I didn't even think anyone really made much of a big deal out of it. I thought, you know, Pursoon clearly won that fight, so Taylor should be defeated now anyway. She should have an L on her record, but she doesn't, because of that Pursoon fight, which was given to her, which I don't really think she deserved. But I think Serrano could potentially beat her comfortably on the weekend. But at the same time, if Taylor turns up, she might end up winning on points. But I think the last couple of fights showed to me that Taylor's not going to dominate. Because Serrano's much better than what she's been fighting of late. And she's not really been dominating. The fights have been pretty close. So to me, that tells me that... you know, this fight's going to be harder because this is a better fighter in front of her. So, yeah, personally, I think I've got Serrano by decision. What do you guys have this fight? Who do you think wins this fight? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.